Hey guys, welcome back. For this week's video, I'm gonna be painting on a larger canvas than normal. Typically, I draw pretty small, and if I'm not drawing small, I'm drawing digitally. But I wanted to expand my horizons a little bit more and do something a little bigger than normal. Something that challenges me a little more than normal. I have been practicing landscapes on a smaller level. You guys know I'm obsessed with Leah Lexon. I love her expressionist way of doing landscapes. So I'm trying to do expressionist landscapes. So I've been practicing pretty small here and there. My last video I did was literally just me practicing landscapes in preparation for this. I practiced landscapes until I felt confident enough to do it on a bigger scale. For this, I'm using watercolor paper because my base layers are made from gouache. I'll have all the gouaches linked down below, but most of the gouache I use is pretty cheap, and then I have like 2 acrylic gouaches and 1 Winsor & Newton gouache. Since I use mainly pastels, I got a white Winsor & Newton gouache, and it makes all the cheap gouaches work like they're expensive, which is really nice. Other than gouache, I used oil pastels and colored pencils. Here and there I used like a fine liner Sharpie or a white Posca pen. The main ingredients for this drawing are oil pastels, gouache, and colored pencils. Something I'm really proud about for this drawing is I was way more loose on my colors than I normally am. So when I plan for a drawing, I will pick out a specific color palette first and then only stick to that and run with it. But for this one, I kind of had an idea in mind, but if I wanted to add something, I didn't question it. I just instinctually used it, which is something I have never done before. I have done it when I was in high school, but those were not good. When I tell you I was so bad at color and composition when I was younger, I mean it, because I didn't even think about those things when I was younger. This was honestly therapeutic for me. It was just like, it was so much fun to do this because it allows you to turn your brain off, as opposed to what I normally do. You have to like keep it so structured and so together, but this allowed me to just play and have fun, and just something so childlike about it, because instead of drawing very specific things, you're just going back to scribbles and shapes. And I really enjoyed this process, and I'm obsessed with how the colors work together. There are a few questions that I didn't answer from last week's Q&A that I want to get to in this video. The first one is, what are your hobbies besides drawing? And guys, when I tell you that I wish I knew, I mean it. I even had a poll on Instagram to ask everyone's hobbies because I wanted to know what everyone else was doing so that I can start to do it. Because I swear to you, there aren't any hobbies that I have in my life that I don't openly try to monetize. You know, I would have to say gaming. I love playing video games. The thing about that is I don't do it very often because of how time consuming it is. It's so sad, but I'm just going through a workaholic point in my life where I feel like I can't actively enjoy things like that, because if I start to actively enjoy things like that, then it's gonna consume my life and gonna stop me from working, and that's a very unhealthy way of thinking. So don't listen to me, because I am not in a good place right now when it comes to work-life balance. So yeah, I don't know what my hobbies are outside of art. I like going on walks. I don't do it that often. I should do it more often. Kind of want to get a dog so I can have a walking companion, but I don't know, that sounds pretty hard too. Oh wait, a hobby would be playing with my cat and taking care of my cat. I love my cat so much, and I love playing with him, and I love getting to understand him more. I love learning more about him. I love having a cat, guys. I'm obsessed with my cat. It's annoying how much I'm obsessed with my cat. Where are you from? How old are you? And what do you do in life? I am from a tiny town in Ohio. It's an hour away from Columbus, and it is a village. Like 2,000 people live there. It is very small. I lived in the country most of my life. I went crick stomping, and I like playing outside. I'm 22 years old, so I am a youngin'. I'm a child in this world. I cannot wait for the day that I am 30. I want to be 30. I want to be more stable in my life. I want to be more stable in who I am as a person. And I want to be more stable in everything. I just want to be a 30-year-old lady. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and almost Every podcast I've listened to, there's a 30-year-old lady telling me how great it is to be 30, and I can't wait because being 20 is so unstable. Everyone around me is so young and is just dreading aging and getting older. But how much of a privilege it is to grow up and be older. I can't wait. I'm just like trying to keep the mindset of always enjoying the journey and looking forward to where I go. Always. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change my mindset. My most embarrassing moment. Okay, so I've actually thought of this a lot because I don't know what my most embarrassing moment is. The thing is, it takes a lot for me to be embarrassed. I don't know. One time I literally accidentally called my professor instead of my gynecologist. I accidentally called my professor instead of my gynecologist. He answered the phone. I was like, "Hi, this is Patricia Huffman. I was wondering if I could talk to the gynecologist about my birth control." And then he was like, I think you got the wrong number. I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then I realized who I was calling. Immediately sent an email over and I was like, "Hey, so sorry about that phone call." I don't remember what I said exactly, but I remember like laughing my ass off. To me, it was so funny. I ran into my roommate's room and I'm like, "You won't believe what just fucking happened." She was like, "You should feel so much worse than you do." And I'm like, "I can't. I literally can't. This is so fucking hilarious. I just called my professor thinking he was my gynecologist." That is amazing. And I just realized how much I don't get embarrassed over. I need to be embarrassed more often. As for what I do in life, I don't know. And once again, I don't know. I'm in my early 20s. I am floating in the void and I am struggling. I graduated in video production and that's the type of job I've been looking for. But in the meantime, while I'm job hunting, I've been working at a movie theater and then trying to do a few freelance things off to the side here and there for illustration. But if a job does pop up that has to do with illustration, I will apply to it because that is my dream. That would be amazing. Wish me luck in the job search, guys, because I need it, guys. I need it so bad. Can I tell you, listen, when I say that I went through some weird fever dream when I was in high school, I mean it. So in high school, I was an art kid. Like, I was that kid who stayed in art class when other classes were boring. I was the kid who stayed after school to finish some paintings. I was the kid who did all of that art crap all of the time. I was just that kid. Was I annoying? Probably, but that's who I was, okay? And you can't change who I was because you're not my real dad. In high school, my high school art teacher was in contact with my old elementary art teacher who was getting rid of an entire garage full of art supplies. And they were like old, they're like from the 70s and 80s. And she said that she was saving them up to eventually do like her own art classes outside of school, but never got around to it and wanted to give it to people who were gonna use it. So my high school art teacher gathered up a few of us art kids and we all went out to her house and just loaded ourselves up on art supplies. So now I have these oil pastels, I have watercolors, I have charcoals, I have canvases, I have all of these things that I'm using regularly now that I got from her. Like the oil pastels I'm using here are like Grumbacher oil pastels, and I don't know how oil pastels are supposed to work, but these work amazingly. I'm just thinking about how thankful I am that that happened. Like, I have so many pieces of supplies because of that, and that is not something that ever happens in any artist's life. No older artist brings you to their house and gives you all of their art supplies. Like, that's amazing. It would be so cool to be that one day, to like pass down my things to someone one day. It's very cool, very cool. This is my high school artwork, and I always painted big pieces. These are huge canvases, huge. I would take forever to paint these things, and I never thought about what colors I used. I didn't think about the composition. I didn't think about anything. I would just think of something I wanted to do and then do it and not even plan out anything really. I mean, I would sketch something, but there was not a lot of thought that went into these. This one is from 4th grade. I remember staying in from recess to paint that, and I ended up winning a little award. Cute, right? Here you can really see how I just did not give a flying F about composition and color. What is going on? What was I thinking? I get so frustrated just looking at this stuff. Listen, I wasn't gonna go to school for art, but I wish I would have taken it more seriously because I did have a passion for it and I had hoped that one day I would pursue it. I wish I would have actively just started pursuing it from the beginning, but I didn't. And you live and you learn, and now I'm pursuing it now and I'm having a great time. And I think it was just meant to be my journey. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.